Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is September 22nd. I can't believe it. September 22nd, 2021. My name is Harry Glanz. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show podcast brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, always powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender. And yes, for compliance and legal purposes, our license number is 2289, and we are always, again, an Equal Housing Lender. With us today, we have a special guest included with our all-star panel, Becky Alley, top 1% of all originators in the United States. Good morning, Beck.
Good morning. And you need to stop it with that announcement of it's already the end of September. I cannot even with 2021 just like flying by. It's crazy.
It's so insane how fast this is, Beck. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, businesses we're lucky, knock on wood, that business is really good. A lot of buyers out there. We're going to talk about that. Also include on our panel, expert Mr. Harvey Freed, host of the most of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning for the last going on now 23 years, 97.1 FM, 9 to 10 a.m. Harvey Freed, what's up?
Hey, Harry, what's going on, guys? Hey, Lisa.
Everything's good. And our special guest, realtor extraordinaire from eXp Realty down on the magic island of Grosse Ile, Michigan, is Lisa LaRowe. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
snap,
you so
snap,
much for
snap.
having me.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We give her snaps, thumbs up, and everything like that. And Lisa, you're in a pretty specialized market. For everybody who doesn't know, Grosse Ile, Michigan, it's a little island, and we call it Downriver here. It's in the Detroit River. At one time, I don't know, Lisa, does it still have its own airport?
Yeah. It still does. We still have our own little airport.
They got a
great
cool
community.
Airport.
Yeah,
it's a great community. And we love it down there. And it's on an island. It's in the middle of Detroit River. Great houses there. Great way of life. It's a lot of fun down there. And Lisa, we welcome you to the podcast. And, I've got a couple topics I want to go over, but it just seems to me where we're sitting here in late September 2021, we're getting a vibe. And for the last, I would say, 18 to 24 months, there's been a real lack of inventory, right? So now our inventory's really up. Are you seeing more and more houses come on the market?
I'm going to say inventories are not up for me. Not in any of the Downriver area, really, or in Grosse Ile either. We are holding steady at very low inventory as when a house hits the market, even in Grosse Ile, surprisingly. Obviously, the higher priced homes are sitting a little bit longer, but they're selling. The inventory for me, I'm not seeing it being up, really. I'm not.
So what you're saying, I mean, market's still hot. I mean, there's no question, right? Market's still crazy hot.
Super hot market still for virtually most sellers. Obviously, specialized homes are going to be a little different, but market is hot.
Good. So Becky, here we are, Becky. And, we see all these statistics. We're on the street every day. We're in it every day. Obviously Lisa is, you are, I am, everybody here, Harvey, everybody, our entire team. And then when I hear that inventories are up, Becky, I can only say this to you. I don't know where they're up. I can tell you that for the realtor partners that we have and everybody that I talk to on a regular basis, I mean, if they're up, I mean, what properties are up there? Are they not? They're undesirable properties, but I'm not feeling that vibe. I'm feeling the same vibe that Lisa is experiencing, that, hey, it's a hot market and we're just waiting for more houses to come on the market.
I mean, yeah, I think that there has been a huge tilt though since April, right? I feel that, and we've talked about it where, in April there was, nothing. It was more sparse. So I guess if you compare it from April to now, it's not as sparse, right? But there's still not going to be enough inventory to kind of offset the balance of the buyers that are in the market, because there's still more buyers than homes, right? So you still have, buyers that are still going after the same properties, but you can tell by the offers that are being submitted, there's not 30 offers on one home, right? So it's either one of two things, right? It's either maybe there's a little bit more inventory, or maybe there's just not as many buyers right now, because we've talked about before, some buyers have gotten out of the market because they were a little bit frustrated, right? They were a little bit frustrated of having to go and shoot for the moon and land on a star. Like, I guess it's like Blockbuster, right? When everything's taken, you're like, I guess I'll take Cat in the Hat. When there's not all the good movies are taken, right? So they're just throwing at whatever they can to get accepted offers. I mean, so I feel though that they're to that point that Lisa's saying, like that normal summer inventory that we are so accustomed to seeing in Michigan, particularly, we just don't see it anymore because we have become a 365 state, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe it's just a national trend, maybe, and I guess the statistic says, and this is as of yesterday, so it's pretty current, that inventories are up 42% from the low in early April, as you said, Becky. But that's not around here. Okay, maybe on a national basis, maybe you want to know something. Maybe it's slowed down in California a little. Maybe it's slowed down in Florida, but not. My friends are telling me it hasn't slowed down. Maybe it's slowed down on the East Coast or wherever. But overall, I'm very concerned what we do in our market around here. But if the trend says that there's more inventory now than there was in April, okay, I'll go with that. But on a micro level, that's a macro level. On a micro level, it's just, I'm not feeling that same vibe. And you ladies, you kind of agree with me, but I don't want anybody to agree with me. I want more houses to be on the market so we can move more buyers in. But Harvey Freed, your business is pretty good, right? I mean, your business in September's up.
The numbers say, though, Harry, that 13% fewer applications, 13% than last year this week. I agree with you, Harry. We don't see any additional inventory going on. Maybe there's a forest fire coming over about to burn your house, and you hurry up and call your agent and list it real quickly, and maybe those are the numbers we're looking at. But nothing like that here. I thought I was the king of Grosse Ile. I guess I'm not. And let me clarify that. That's called Dan Burke International Airport.
Dan Burke International Airport.
Yeah, No, I think Dan's the king of the Free Bridge, which I believe is the Free Bridge closed
Free
down.
Bridge
The Free Bridge is closed, right? There's
Yeah.
no Free Bridge anymore. For those of you who live downriver, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, there are two bridges. There's the toll bridge and there's the Free Bridge. But Lisa, I think we have a lot of fun with that because we have a lot of people, we have a lot of relationships downriver, and especially in that area. The homes, there are some classic old school homes on the island, right? It must be fun for you, and that's your area, to know all of those homes and the history behind those homes. And when you have an opportunity to list and sell one of those properties, that's got to be really cool. That's got to give you a really cool feeling.
Super powerful. I love it. I love this island. So it's easy for me. I'm very passionate. Raised my daughter here. She graduated from Grosse Ile schools. And so yes, these homes are very unique. Many of them were cottages and were just used as vacation homes. And so what we ended up doing, a lot of these homes have been built on several times to just create a more livable space instead of just a cottage home. So yeah, they're very unique. Many of them are super unique.
Yeah. So let's talk about the market in general now. The market in general, it seems to be, and Harvey, and Becky, business, we say that it's now a 365 market here in Michigan. Vacation homes. People love going up north, not only in the summer, but it's a huge destination in the winter, the skiing, the hunting, everything that we experience here in Michigan. I've got to tell you, we have a tremendous amount of buyers that are still looking for their forever home here, as well as their vacation homes. And, Becky, your buyers right now, what are they going through in terms of more competition, less contingencies, more contingencies? I mean, what are they experiencing right now? I know we talk about it every week, but what's the update this week on the vibe that you're getting?
The vibe this week is their offers are getting accepted much faster than they were 3 to 6 months ago. We talked about there was a lot of FHA and VA discrimination, and it was like, if you weren't conventional, you're going to get passed on. But I feel like a lot of that came from some agents that maybe are newer to newer to the game, right, that maybe weren't educated enough to really understand that money is money at the end of the day. And if you have a beautiful home, there's no reason why you should turn around an FHA transaction, because if that's giving your seller the top dollar, why would you turn that away? So a lot of, and currently I have probably several FHA with concessions that were accepted first time around. I have 2 VA offers right now. So that, statistic that was out there that it was like, if you weren't conventional, you were getting passed on. I mean, that has now, moved on. I feel like people have evolved and understand the nature that, just because you're getting that highest and best conventional, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best offer, because some of these have been going back to the backup offers because the first round maybe was a buyer that threw so much at the house. And when they found out that they had to bring $10,000 to $15,000 because they threw in some appraisal guarantee, it intimidated them and they weren't willing to step up to the plate. So then that kind of forced sellers to kind of come back to reality a little bit. And it's also opened up the door for buyers that maybe felt a little bit frustrated that were getting passed on, because they are not. I feel like they're getting their offers accepted first, second time around in some of these cases now.
Yeah, Harvey, before I go to you, I want to address Lisa on this subject, and Becky, as well as Harvey. We're very passionate, Lisa, about FHA lending. We're very passionate. We feel we do it really well. I know that Becky and Harvey do a nice percentage of their business FHA, first time home buyer, getting people into a house. And FHA through the years has allowed people that normally wouldn't qualify. They have, a little easier regulations and guidelines to get into a house for first-time home buyers, which is what it's all about. You want new people to get into the market. And Lisa, are you seeing that the attitude has changed a little bit on FHA when you're a realtor? So when you have another realtor, one of your coworkers brings you an offer and you see that it's an FHA offer, I mean, is it really, and this is a mortgage banking term that I'm going to use, is it really a thing still in 2021 like it was back in the 1980s?
That's a great question. And Becky, I agree with what you said completely. I actually closed a lot of first-time home buyers that were VA and FHA this year. And I had to really work a lot harder to convince, just like you're talking about, convince that list agent that my buyer is just as good as that conventional buyer. They're actually much more motivated at this point because they've lost so many. So they're willing to do a lot more as far as even some city repairs or things like that, just to get that approved. So I'm definitely on the same page as you. Those FHA and VA buyers are just as good as those conventionals. If you have a beautiful house, why are you picking and weeding those out or turning those away? I completely agree with you there. But yes, it is still a thing, unfortunately. And I'm using this time to educate others in that. I'm definitely on with you guys. I'm trying to educate as many agents as I can. Hey, look at the whole picture, not just what type of a loan they have. Let's look at the agent on the other side. Is that lender, what's the whole picture, not just what type of a loan?
Yeah, I can feel Harvey.
Hey, I want to chime in real quick, just about testament to Lisa, right? So a lot of people don't know, with Lisa is she does a lot of training on the side, what she's speaking about. So she is someone that not only is she building her own business, or she doing her own business, but she also is a lot of behind the scenes training for newer agents, right? She is someone that they are calling for that brand new agent that just got in the game that really doesn't understand the difference between FHA, VA. She is someone that they're calling as a sounding board, right? So she gets really passionate about the learning and the nuances of these agents. So that way they are not walking the plank alone and adding to the problem of not understanding that VA and FHA are just as strong as buyers. And I, commend her for that, because she's very passionate, like we are, about the training and the service element of that. And it's so important for newer agents that are getting in the game to know that, you got to look at the whole picture, right? You got to look at all the things that she's speaking on. So I did want to, kind of point that out, because without people like Lisa training these newer agents on top of doing what she's doing, I mean, it would just be kind of, they don't know. They don't know any better. You don't know, right? So what do you do?
Yeah, I can tell you this, that we're very passionate about VA and FHA lending, and I can feel Harvey Freed brimming. It's up to the top here. He wants to tell you, we're big on educating everybody and the proper knowledge and educating. And Harvey, money's money, right? Does it matter if we go ahead and fund FHA loans, conventional loans, VA loans? Go ahead. You ready? On three, 1, 2, 3, go, Harv.
All right. Well, the seller definitely is going to get the same amount. They're going to net the same at closing table. The money is all the same money that shows up in your account. The FHA loan limit right now, and it's going to go up next year, $356,362. Becky, you talk about it all the time that this might allow somebody to overpay for the house and use the additional funds to make up the appraisal gap. So we've seen that on FHA, USDA, and VA loans, which make up 20 to 25% of the lending every month. So 75% of the lending out there is conventional loans, and making up the other 25% leaves that for the government loans. So it's definitely a big chunk of someone's portfolio. And it's great. Last point on that. It's so great that these new agents have people to go back to. I mean, Lisa, without you mentoring these people, their buyers and sellers could be in a little bit of trouble. So I think that's one of the keys to this conversation today. If you're new in the industry, don't be so proud. You need to have a Lisa in your life, and you better get also a Becky Ellie in your life. And I think that's what's so important to these buyers. We see it every day. They're still making some of the same mistakes, and setting up that professional team would probably prevent some of that.
Yeah, Lisa, Becky mentioned the saying that we have around here: don't walk the plank by yourself. I mean, this isn't high school. Raise your hand, ask questions, take people with you. I mean, let's roll. If you're walking that plank by yourself and you fall off, you don't have a life raft, you know what's going to happen. You're going to drown. We don't do that. We are extremely team-oriented, educationally oriented, consumer-focused, and we want to make sure people, Lisa, make the right decisions. And, on a personal note, Lisa, how did you get in the business? How long have you been a realtor, and how did you get in the business?
Sure. A friend of mine was opening their own brokerage, a RE/MAX office, and I had asked, like, what's involved in this? And it was back when my daughter was 3 years old. So it worked out great for me. She's graduated now, so 18 years in the business. And I did spend most of my time on the training end of things, more in the back shadows of it. And until this point, I've just decided at this point in my life, after my daughter's old enough, and I'm just hitting it hard for myself as well. So sticking with the training and also hitting it hard myself, it is a great career, and I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm loving helping the other agents. I'm loving educating them. It's been a wild ride and so much fun. I'm all hyped up about it every day. Love it.
I tell you, it comes through loud and clear that you're about helping people and making sure people are successful. And Becky, that's what, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, you're only successful because you help other people achieve success, right? And I got a very nice compliment from a guy who he's an acquaintance. I've known this guy over the years. We're not lifelong friends or anything. He's just a guy that likes to comment on things that he sees. And he said that, he tunes into our radio show, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, every weekend, 9 to 10. And he says, when you have Becky on and Lisa and Harvey and John and our guests and the panel that we have, he says, you can really tell all the years of effort and time spent giving consumers great advice, Becky. This came unsolicited. I mean, I didn't have to pay this guy to say that. He came up to me because I think in this world, you can't fool people. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but the old saying, you can't fool all the people all the time. This is Detroit, okay? We're not a real flashy area. We're hardworking. We're nice people. We'll do what we have to do with people. And people can tell when you're really, really sincere. That's two reallys, by the way. That's really, really sincere.
It means it's really, really true.
And Lisa comes off as really, really sincere. And it's easy to tell, isn't it, Becky, when you're working with people like that?
Yeah, you can't fake it till you make it. And not to get too deep, but it's the same thing with just life in general. our job in this world is to not receive love, but almost give it away, right? Because that's what you're going to be remembered by, is how you made someone else feel, not how they made you feel, right? So the same thing goes with our careers, and the fact that we are in such a special profession where we can be a part of someone's history, right? No one is ever going to forget the first time they bought a house or the 10th time they bought a house, right? No one's going to forget what that felt like, whether it was a good transaction or a bad transaction. They're going to remember that, right? So, it's our job to make sure that we're helping facilitate them, to make sure that we're guiding them. And when you are true and genuine about that, it's not going to be misled, right? And sometimes, buyer sabotage, it's a real thing, right? People are going to self-sabotage themselves all the way to the end, right? So it is our job to carry them on our shoulders and be like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. We're going to get you in this house, motivate them, keep them from being discouraged, because in their minds, they've already beaten themselves because there was something that they never thought they were ever going to achieve. So when they are moving money around or putting large deposits in, even though you're trying to tell them to stop, right? I don't feel that they're doing it on purpose. It's almost like they're just like, well, I never thought this was going to happen anyway, so I'm just going to live my life, right? So, and sometimes they make our jobs harder, but at the same time, when you are sitting across from them on the closing table, on the other phone, and they are literally in tears for allowing and helping facilitate a dream of theirs. I mean, there's no greater compliment than that. And maybe that's me being selfish because I get such a joy from it. I know Lisa for sure gets a joy from it, but it's special to be a part of something so monumental in someone's life.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is special. And listen, anybody who tells you the mortgage process is an easy process,
it can be ugly.
It's not an easy process, but we can help make it easier because of our experience. And, Harvey, let's turn to a different topic. I'm going to let you warm Lisa up with this topic right now, because I'm going to ask Lisa this question. But first, it's got to go to you. Property values, Harvey, appraisals, one of your favorite topics, one of my favorite topics right now. Have the appraisals caught up with the sales yet? Are you seeing still some gaps in it? Or are we caught up from the summer sales now moving in the fall with the appraisal community? What are you seeing?
Every time we say that things are looking really good on the appraisal side, it's things in the marketplace. So we won't say it. We'll just say this. We do find, Lisa, you've had a lot of offers. I know a lot of the competition has led the buyers to making these offers saying, I'll pay $10,000 over appraised value. I'll pay $15,000 over appraised value, somewhere in that ballpark. And sure enough, the houses, again, might have came in at that little higher value on half of these. I have a client this morning, and we noticed that he agreed to pay $10,000 over appraised value. Sure enough, it came in at $330 at purchase price, and he agreed to pay $340 now. So I don't know if he would have got his offer accepted without that, Lisa. It's a tough pill to swallow. And I was looking at some figures this morning on these clients coming up with these additional funds to make up the appraisal gap. But hey, it's what the market's getting. If you're selling your house, well, when you go to buy it, you're going to have to pay a little bit more on that side, I guess.
Yeah, Lisa, on Grosse Ile right now, talk about the property values versus the appraised values, solds versus the actual appraisals. Is there still a little bit of a gap there, or is it caught up for you?
There's absolutely still a gap. And I think when people start to see, oh, well, my neighbor sold for this and everybody else is selling for over value, I am seeing people still putting the appraisal gap guarantees on there. And in that, I'm setting my clients and the other agent up for success. Listen, here's where I feel this is going to come in an appraisal. Let's make sure we have everybody on the same page before we even move forward and put this under contract. Do your clients truly have the money to back up that appraisal guarantee? And are they prepared to actually let go of that money? I had it a couple of times where they knew that they were putting the appraisal guarantee in, but then when it came down to it, they got really scared and said, oh, well, I didn't think I would actually have to. So then I started making sure that I had everyone on the same page. I'm educating you. Listen, here's where I think, but we never really know where that appraisal is going to come in. It's a guess for me. I'm running the comps. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at what's pending right now and what might possibly be a comparable by the time we close or are ready to appraise. But yeah, there's definitely still gaps there, and we are not caught up, and nor could we be. I don't really see that being completely a thing where we can catch up completely.
Yeah, I agree with that. The appraisers, appraisals are really more of an art than a science. And I believe that all appraisers think that they're Rembrandt and, what are you going to do? But we do have a way to go ahead and although we cannot talk directly to an appraiser, you can, oddly enough, we can't, but there is a process that we can engage in a dialogue. And, sometimes we get it overturned, sometimes we don't. But in the end, I think the preparation that you're going through with your buyer and or seller, depending on which side of the transaction you're on, that's all people want. They just want to hear what could happen, what the options are. And that's part of the educational process. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender. Becky, today, we're coming up on that time where we got to get off and start going to work here. We can't be on we're mortgage people, right? And Lisa's a realtor. We can't stay on the air all day long like some mortgage people want to, but we got business to do. Harvey, you like that one, didn't you? I threw that in there for you. Anyways, Becky, last words for today, and we'll go around the horn. And Lisa, you will ultimately end up getting the last word. So, Becky, last words for today.
My last words for the day are going to be prepared, right? You can, if you're thinking about buying a house, if you think about refinancing, start the conversation sooner than later, right? If you are first-time home buyer, repeat buyer, you need to know what the circumstances are, like Lisa was just talking about, right? Just because you put in this $20,000 appraisal gap, what happens if you really have to do that? Are you prepared to bring $30,000 versus $10,000, right? So those are all huge talking points. And so being prepared is key. And part of preparation is starting that conversation. Is your credit where it needs to be? Is your budget where it needs to be? Are you aware of the price point that you feel comfortable in? All of those things kind of come together, and then aligning yourself with an amazing team, someone like Lisa that's going to guide you through the process, someone that's been through the process a million times and one time over that, to help you from start to finish. That is everything. So give us a call. We're always here to advocate, and be prepared or prepare to fail. Boom.
I love that. I love that adage. And Mr. Harvey Freed.
I'll go with inspections are key still. Hey, it's a lot of rain out there. You're going to find out this weekend if you bought a house that has some severe defects when it comes to the grading or the plumbing or your backup sub pump. Also, these are houses. I mean, they were built, so they need to be maintained. They need to be fixed, just like anything that's built, and they're built by man. So, of course, especially here in Michigan, these homes need to be maintained, and you need to budget for that. You need to budget. Some of the buyers out there, I think, are missing the boat on it. Appreciation's been off the charts, and as homes continue to appreciate, that will always bail you out. But if there's something wrong with your house and you just bought it, you're gonna have to dig deep into your pockets to come up and repair it quickly. And again, it takes money to do that. So be careful. Do those home inspections.
Great advice, Harvey Freed. Everybody, Lisa LaRowe, eXp Realty down on Grosse Ile, Michigan, a great community, a great area, a lot of historic houses. It's just a lot of fun being down there. Lisa, your last words of the day, and we appreciate you joining us today.
This was a lot of fun. I appreciate the opportunity here. And so my last words are going to be also on the note what Becky said. Make sure you're having great conversations. Hire a real estate agent and a lender that will have the conversations with you. You need to be forthcoming about what your goals are moving forward, your timelines, what you're willing and not willing to do to get into a home. And those are the things that I've been doing with my buyers, having those buyers consultations up front to really talk through what the possibilities are for each individual person, because it won't be the same for each person. And it's very customizable. So make sure you're talking to people who are helpful. And obviously I love Becky Alley. She works great. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on our show. Listen, all of you are beacons of light today, an otherwise rainy day. It's telling you, it's raining cats, dogs, and other animals too today. For Roberto Beauchesne, our producer, director in the booth, I'm Harry Glantz. For Becky Alley, Harvey Freed, and Lisa LaRowe down in Grosse Ile. Listen, everybody, don't forget to tune into our show. Lisa, Harvey, Becky, maybe myself, maybe other people will show up on the show. 97.1 FM, 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. I am Harry Glantz for the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. I'll talk to you next time.